Okay, so let's look at the words. What I have done, I've split them into green and orange for you to see. I haven't got any red words. There are not 10 in each, so I've added on loads of extra commonly misspelled words, which obviously is going to make your life difficult, because nobody likes the commonly misspelled words. So let's go through them. We've got manhood, that's quite straightforward. Boyhood, childhood, girlhood, womanhood. It's just a case of remembering your WO before manhood. Notice that you actually can't get menhood or womanhood. These are not things. It's just manhood. You don't get boyshood, childshood, or childrenhood. It's always the singular. And then we've got motherhood and fatherhood. So that's the state of being a mother and being a father. Let's look at the orange ones, which are slightly harder. There's actually not much in it. Yes, okay, some of them are a bit harder. So we've got sisterhood, brotherhood. Brotherhood is no harder than motherhood, really. Sisterhood is quite straightforward. So sisterhood and brotherhood are kind of used differently, and it's more about, sisterhood is more about friendship within girls being friends with other girls, and brotherhood is more about boys being friends with other boys. It's not really about being sisters and brothers. Okay, so that's slightly different. Okay, knighthood is obviously when somebody is knighted, usually by the queen. Priesthood is when somebody becomes a priest. Now, interestingly, some of you probably think that priests can only be men because it's very uncommon in Scotland. And I'll tell you the reason for that is that in the Roman Catholic Church, there are only male priests. But in the Church of England, they have priests too. And the priests can be women. But we don't have many churches of England in Scotland. We have the Church of Scotland instead, where they have ministers and not priests. Okay, number 5 then. Number 5 and 6 are similar. Their spelling is similar, and they're not about people, because they're about the likelihood. So that's the likelihood of something happening. So, for example, the likelihood of the sun going down at the end of the day is extremely high. I mean, it would be impossible for it not to happen. And then the next one, livelihood. So basically the difference in spelling is the K and the V. And you know how to spell like and likely. Notice that we're taking off the Y and putting in an I, as we do so many times when we're adding a suffix. And live and lively are words that you know, again, taking off the Y and adding an I. So livelihood is basically how you make your money. So my livelihood is being a teacher. Your parents will have different livelihoods. That is how they make money, how they live. What do you live off? I live off the salary I get from teaching. So that's my livelihood. And so, you know, I would say, for example, schools are important to me because of I get my livelihood in a school. So, for example, if somebody was a farmer, then to them a farm is more important than a school. And actually, let's be honest, farms are important to all of us because we all get our food from farms. So farms are very important, and a farmer's livelihood is important to all of us because without a farmer we can't eat. So as I say, likelihood and livelihood are different, and that is important for everybody, whether you're doing the green or the orange. It's important that everybody knows that these are important words and the spelling important. Okay, so the last one is probably the hardest one to spell there, neighbourhood. So the neighbourhood is actually different because it's not really a state of being. It's a neighbourhood is a place. So, for example, if any of you live near, on or near Criffel Road, or I'm not from Mount Vernon, so I don't know the streets around the school, but if you lived on Criffel Road, then you could easily say, oh, Mount Vernon School is in my neighbourhood. I mean, all of you live close enough to the school that it's your school. So there's a sense in which if you think of the neighbourhood as being quite big, you could say that Mount Vernon Primary is in your neighbourhood. It's not in my neighbourhood. I do have a school. My next door neighbour practically is a school. So I would say that Knightswood Secondary School is in my neighbourhood. And you could think of other things that are in your neighbourhood: shops, post offices, churches, a hairdresser, a baker. You know, these kinds of things might be in your neighbourhood.